Hey, it's Sean Mars with Hawkridge Systems. Let's take a look at Visualize Professional's Sun Study. The Sun Study is a special animation type available in Visualize Professional. Creating one consists of two parts, creating the sunlight environment and adjusting the render output settings. To get started, click the Add button on the Scenes tab and select New Sunlight Environment. From here we can figure out the time, date, and location of the scene. Keep in mind that Visualize will default to your computer's current time and date when you open the project, so double check your options before creating the final render. Using the render preview as a guide, think about how the latitude and month will affect the length of day and angle of the sun. Even if you're rendering a snow scene, you may want to use a summer month in order to get a brighter and longer day for the render. Similarly, using the Arctic Circle latitude versus the equator will change the day length and angle of the sun. In order to find the settings that are right for you, don't neglect the rotation slider. This rotates the entire scene, allowing you to get the sun onto the correct side of your model. I use this in conjunction with the time slider to help find the perfect month and latitude for the animation I'm envisioning. Using the time slider, I focus on sunrise and sunset to make sure they are hitting my model at desirable spots, especially if I'm looking to take advantage of reflections. Next, moving to the Sunlight tab, we can adjust parameters to control the look and feel of the sun. Haze blurs and brightens light from the sun at different heights. At its lowest level, it affects sunrise and sunset. At its highest level, it will affect higher sun angles, such as at midday. Red-blue shift controls the coolness or warmth of the light. Saturation increases the intensity of colors. Horizon blur controls how sharp the horizon appears in reflections and in the background of the scene. Sun brightness should be used in conjunction with the environmental brightness. The higher you set this, the lower the environmental brightness should be. Sun brightness also has a large effect on the contrast or starkness of shadows. Sun diameter increases the size of the sun as seen in reflections and the background of the scene. This also has a large effect on brightness and shadows in the scene and should be adjusted with the sun and environmental brightness parameters. Sun glow blurs the outline of the sun. This is useful for reflections and if the sun passes through the background of your animation. Floor color is important for reflections on the bottom of the model and can be matched to the scene you're creating. Night color, which is set to black by default, can be used to prevent a scene from going completely dark at night, and influences the color hues at dawn and dusk. The Advanced tab contains standard scene parameters and is not unique to the Sun Study environment. Before starting the render, let's take a look at the entire scene. Since shadows often play a large part in the realism of a sun study, some modeling of the surroundings can add a lot to an animation. In this case, I added simple gold coins of varying appearance and a wavy, uneven ground, complete with an HD image used as a custom texture. Natural placement of the models in the scene was obtained using the physics simulator in Visualize Professional. All that's left now is to set up the final render settings. Clicking on Output Tools, choose Sun Study. On the Sun Study tab, set a time range, frames per second, and duration of the animation. Time range refers to time of day the animation begins and ends. You can choose to have the sun make up to 2 full days of motion. Next, we'll want to make sure that the settings for frames per second and duration work well together. What we want to avoid is having too few frames rendered, as this will make the animation appear choppy. If we use the standard frame rate of 30 frames per second and create a 24-hour sun study, our duration should be at least 6 seconds. I usually go for around 10 seconds to give me freedom to slow the video down later. Render options will be the same as they are for any other animation. Let's take a look at the final product. If this doesn't produce quite what you want, remember that standard animations are always an option. The sunlight environment can be controlled with keyframes, so you can have any of its parameters change over time. If you want to take advantage of an HDR scene for its reflections and background, you can make a pseudo sun study by rotating and adjusting brightness with keyframes. Alright, that's everything I have for you in this video. Thanks for joining me to take a look at the sun study in Visualize Professional. See you next time.